over the next 30 minutes is I'm going to take all the warm-up act. So gotta get everyone laughing and in the mood. You know, we'll be selling CDs afterwards and out the door in preparation for the main event, Christian Renaud from Francisco. What Christian's going to be talking about is how we go from where we are today in the industry, be it however we want to characterize the virtual world, towards mainstream adoption. And so, in light of that, what I'm going to do is take you on a little historical run and talk about where I think we might be today, why we are here, and some thoughts on how we got here and what makes it potentially interesting. The world's leading agency, helping brands and other entities connect with large online communities, whether they're in the form of social networks or virtual worlds. Here are some of our clients who've been around for a little over a year, and it's been a quite wild ride, from the garage to a real office. And this morning we announced our Series A funding. We just sold a piece of the company to the Omnicom Group. And I'm really happy because now we go back to focusing on what we love doing, which is the work that we do. So, in light of Chris's first question about who's in the industry and who isn't, this would seem to be a really basic and really sort of kindergarten level slide. But I really like it because in light of the sort of the theme of the avatar age, I think it's important to remember what an avatar is and what that means in various contexts. The word avatar is a really ancient one. It comes from the Hindu. And what an avatar traditionally was when a god who had no form came down to earth, they needed to assume a shape. And so we're all familiar with Vishnu, with many arms, and there are a variety of others within the Hindu pantheon. Today, it's the online persona you take. And what I love about that is that it's sort of an inversion. What I'm touching on here is something that's not characteristic of our industry in general, but of the much larger world of marketing, of the relationship between people online, people not online, people watching television, people in general, and brands who want to sell themselves. Online communities, user-generated online communities, of which the bulk of the virtual world market represent 31% of today's consumer internet usage, and they represent the fastest growing segment of it. Right? So this is not some niche thing. This is what consumers are doing more than anything else. No means complete. There are hundreds, potentially thousands of companies that aren't represented in this, but this is sort of a slide that I typically use to show big brands what this market looks like. Here's the 31% of the internet that is growing the fastest, that you have no way of addressing, but that has the greatest potential for credibility. Conversation dominated by two words: Second Life. Ironically, Second Life represents a small minority of this overall virtual world space. The majority of the market is web-based, it's youth-focused, and in total, if you do a back-of-the-envelope sort of calculation, granted there's some overlap between, let's say Swingtopia and Gaia Online, but you're looking at something in the neighborhood globally of 100 million people now. With respect to what Chris is going to talk about, that's not a mass market yet, but it's also not the 1.5 or 2 million Second Life subscribers that the conversation has focused on. It's big. So a few really quick predictions. First of all, over the next year, it's highly likely that the social networks, the Facebooks of the world, that are mass market now, will become avatarized. What do we mean by that? We mean that elements of identity, faces, places, that we expect in virtual worlds will begin to, and virtual merchandise will begin to enter these social networks and begin to replace sort of the identity that is represented just by a headshot. Secondly, virtual worlds will begin to become more like social networks. Many of the features that we take for granted in our Facebook, friends lists, profiles, etc., will become de facto standards in virtual worlds. And finally, this is another element of the mainstreaming of this industry within the avatar age. Television tie-ins like CSI that you heard about yesterday, like our project with the CW Network and Gossip Girl, will become more and more prevalent. Viacom's work. So these are three major trends that I think are interesting to keep an eye on. So now we get interesting. I love this slide. Right? This shows you Moore's Law in perfect visual clarity. 1985, Randy Farmer, Chip Morningstar, that is habitat. People, the academicians in the room will argue, was it first, wasn't it? Okay, it was. I don't know. But look at it. In opposition to Second Life 2.5 years ago. And what I love about this is that somewhere over here, somewhere in the future, this is going to become very immersive. People have said, like stepping into a movie. It's really exciting to sort of see 20 years, because it's not a long time.